All right, everyone. Head coach Ben Olsen here for you. Ben heading to Salt Lake, wrap up a two-match road stretch here. Familiar opponent that you faced actually 11 times since you've been here. So, how's the team prepared this week, coming off that big win in San Diego?
The San Diego game seems like a long time ago, and it's probably I don't know, maybe good, maybe bad. We know Salt Lake well; they know us. We've played them quite a bit. Similar styles, and both with the ball and without. And it's usually a fun matchup. It's close. It usually comes down to a few plays, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing Pablo again. A lot of admiration for him and what they've done there, and so we're excited to hopefully continue the good form that we're on.
Thanks for that. We'll start with Herman. Go ahead.
Hey Ben, just touching on Real Salt Lake, you see him frequently. You've kind of seen the growth of Diego Luna as a player, and throughout the Gold Cup, we asked you about Jack, but just your thoughts and seeing that growth and that key performances for the national team in the Gold Cup about Diego Luna.
Yeah, both guys you mentioned make plays, and for both of them, that's something when you're on the radar of a World Cup team. That's a good thing. Certainly they're very different players. Their pulses out there are very different, and but they both are guys that can produce moments, and I think it gives those players a chance to be recognized on that stage, and whether it's playing consistently or just a luxury piece that can come in and do some damage. MLS, he's been a handful for us in particular. He's haunted us consistently as we play him, and he's unpredictable. He takes what you give him. If you close this area, he's comfortable going out wide. If you try to squeeze him, he's a good combiner in between the lines. And one of his, I think, greatest qualities, he's brave, he's fearless, and he's good in and around the box.
And you talk about making plays. At the end of the game last week, Ponce scored the fourth. But what stood out to me was the intent, the through ball by Ethan Bartlow. And to me, what I liked about that game in particular was the aggressiveness of the Dynamo in the attacking position. What does the team need to do to continue being that aggressor and kind of dictating and being the team dictating the game?
Well, we got to take care of the ball, and we have to follow the game plan that these coaches put together to, again, have sustained possessions to get into those opportunities. And I think that's first and foremost. And then, each game's different, though. And, the way San Diego shapes up, the way they defend is going to be different than Salt Lake. And so the dynamics of these games are going to lend them to being sometimes a dominant game and sometimes more of a transition game for us. And the good news for us is we're starting to have certain players in the starting 11 that can benefit from both those styles. And whether it's Lawrence and Ponce now giving us some depth, that's helpful. And having transition speed and having the ability to push teams back to allow us to have those sustained possessions, I think will hopefully help us down the stretch.
And the last one on my end, I know you're always humble about these things, but this is a major milestone possibly. If you win tomorrow night, that'd be your 150th win as a head coach. There's only a few people, a handful that have done it in the league, and speak on what it means to be up there and just the consistency and how you know this league and what this means to you. Thank you.
It doesn't mean anything. In fact, Jack 2 days ago said something about it, and I didn't even know it was the wins. I just was like, 150 something. I didn't even process that it was wins. So I've been doing this a long time. So, again, I got a lot of losses too. and I got a lot of ties. If you stick around long enough, you start to get numbers that maybe one day mean something to me, but I'm not being humble. I got too much other stuff on my brain to ever really pat myself on the back. We got a big challenge ahead of us, this team, and looking for to continue a small winning streak that we have not extended that for this year, and that's important. If you're going to get a postseason, you got to use this wave of momentum and put a couple wins together. Salt Lake's also a team that is right there with us. They're going to be neck and neck all year, and they're in similar form right now. So that's where the focus is. Thank you if there was a compliment in there somewhere. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. Safe travels.
Luis, go ahead.
Coach, hey,
Luis.
Going back to one of the previous questions here, we typically come in here and ask, like, how do you guys sustain this? Or how do you guys kind of do this again when he was talking about being the aggressive team? And you talked about every game is different. I mean, is it just that, or is that an identity thing? Like, or how do we see?
Well, San Diego, if you go back and look at their results, it's 5-2, it's 4-3. Those are what those games look like. So it ends up being a shootout. And we're not necessarily always a 4-goal shootout team. So it was a little bit of a different type of result for us. And the way San Diego plays lends it to, if you want to beat them, you got to be really efficient. And when you get your chances, that you're going to get those chances, you got to score them. And it was a day that we did that, right? But this game will look different than that. And then Vancouver comes in, and that's a different game plan and probably a different rhythm to how you get those results. And the idea is to build a team where, yes, you have an identity and a structure and how we want to go about the game in an ideal way. But that's fantasy. That's fantasy world, right? These games are all different. And having players that have a skill set to problem solve and be good in these moments, right? Because I don't care how you play, you still have to defend the box. And you still have to see out a 3v2 or serve the ball at the right moment. And when you get your chance, you still have to score that, no matter how you play. And a lot of times those are the moments that change the game or dictate the result. And so, to me, it's always about, again, giving these guys a structure, some principles, and giving them a little freedom within that, and getting guys that are competitors and good in moments and problem solvers. And that usually, at least it gives you a chance.
And having said all of that, what does that win against San Diego do for you guys going forward? Because we talked about for a few weeks now how the mission is to get into the playoffs and stringing points together.
I don't know. It gives us 3 points and a little bit of confidence. But Salt Lake's 3 on the bounce, unbeaten too. So this is, we have to build confidence in how we played, and I thought we built in a better way. But again, some of that was because of the way San Diego pressed us. And maybe a game where someone's pressing, we're not going to build in that way. We're going to try to bypass. So these are all, again, game to game, our focus. My point is, we take a little confidence in the win, the good feelings, but we also have to understand we prepped for San Diego in a similar way, but our mentality was a good one. We were going away. We were playing the best team in the league, and our guys were revved up, and they were ready to roll. And so that mentality, other than all the tactics and how we want to play, that has to stay at a high level. And that's what I think where we live in too many times, that urgency has waned, and that's been disappointing. But I see competition here with this group, and it is hopefully a good moment for us to continue putting up some results.
Thanks, bud.
Dustin, go ahead.
Hey, Ben, with Jack coming back in and Lawrence getting back to fitness and Ponce getting into form, I know you talked about sleepless nights and having tough decisions. Do you feel like the offense is where you want it, where you see it at its peak right now?
Not yet. No, not yet. We're still looking at our attack and saying, okay, what is the best mix? Jack's been gone for a month, so now Jack comes in, and you have essentially 6 attackers behind Ponce that all deserve a look. And now who fits where from a substitution pattern? We got 3 games in 1 week. Who's coming in? What changes are we going to make? It's a nice problem to have. And I am excited certainly about the depth and the opportunity to still continue to tinker and find out who we are, what our best group is together. And that's going to take another week of 3 games because we're going to mix it up and we're going to find out. This is the first time some of these players are going to play with each other in that attacking. So we'll find a little bit more about ourselves.
And with our sales attack, they talked about playing them a lot, but they've added veterans like Agata, Russell. Do you see a little bit difference in the way that they can attack you and just the ways that they can hurt you?
Yeah, Agata's been good for him. A lot of what he does is, I think, helpful, and the ball sticks to him. He's good in and around the goal. Luna obviously comes back, will give them energy, and is a high-quality player. And Russell seems to have a new lease, as you do when you go to another team, and bring energy and excitement, and certainly the quality that he's shown in this league since he's got here. So solid team, and we always get their best punch as well.
Thanks, Ben.
Jorge, go ahead.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, not a lot of home games left for the rest of the summer, but just tell me, how does it feel to go back-to-back road trips, or what you'll be doing for a lot after Leagues Cup?
I haven't looked at the schedule too much after Leagues Cup, but I'll address I did the week, addressed it a little bit. This week is a big one. We've got, away at Salt Lake, home to Vancouver, and then Philly. Those 2 teams are top 5 in the league, and Salt Lake, they may be higher, I don't even know, and Salt Lake away. So it's a difficult stretch, and this is where we're living right now. We're living with Salt Lake, and then we'll deal with Vancouver, and it's going to take everybody, as it does in these 3-game weeks, in particular in the summer. And as far as the home games, nothing we can do about that. Our road form, our road mindset has been above average, I think, over the course of the year, and that's going to be something that we're going to need if we're going to get into the playoffs.
And then right now with that, big win in San Diego, do you believe this could be the start of something big to finish off the season?
We'll find out. It was a good win. It was a good win, but that seems like a long time ago. And our mentality, if it continues to be where we've lived for the last few weeks, with urgency and understanding how critical this moment is, and how critical the rest of the season is, to be at our best, I think, again, it gives us a chance. And with the quality that we're getting and the depth, getting Jack back, Anali back healthy, so things are trending. But a lot of teams are also trending in this direction because it's this time of the year, and we're all heading down that last stretch.
Thank you, Coach. Safe travels and best of luck.
All right, wrap it up with Jesus. Go ahead.
Question to start. How excited are you and the rest of the coaching staff to have Jack back on the team and now, incorporating him with some of the new players that now have started to play more, Lawrence and so forth?
Yeah, we know what Jack brings to this group, and we missed him for the month. Some of generating attacks and in final third, whether he's providing or scoring goals. We missed some of his moments and his ability to come inside, switch point of attack, but also spring players from a build standpoint. But then when we get in the final third, you guys have seen what he can do. So yes, we've missed him. Excited about him incorporating into some new players out there, and really just excited to get the whole team back together and for this stretch and start to figure out really what our rhythm is, what that best 11 looks like over the next week, and then have the right guys off the bench that are committed and ready to come in and change the game for the better.
You know, he scored a great goal. How much conversation do you think the coaching staff have in trying to protect him? I'm sure people like to say all 90, but he's still coming back from an injury, so you're bringing him on slowly. How much conversation is that between him wanting to say more and you guys trying to protect him so he doesn't get hurt again?
Lawrence?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he's been like an all-star pitcher with like the arm, the throw count. There's no shortage of conversations about what his shot throw count or shot count or minute count is. We're on top of it, and I think we've been pretty conservative in my estimate. But I deal with sports science; they're my boss with this stuff. I try to do my best to follow them and their recommendations. Of course, sometimes you tweak it and you get caught up in it. But I'm blessed with a really good sports science department, whether it's the training staff and Paul Caffrey's been around forever, and he has a great ideas. He's also part coach, so he's a guy that also understands the demands and sometimes urgency of the moment versus the science part. And Craig Devine has been here, walking us through kind of the return to play. And what that looks like and the risk reward of all this stuff. So plenty of chats, especially with a guy that we need in Lawrence.